All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we provide some LPDS updates, universe updates on, me, as because you guys care so much about that. I provide some what I would say is I, I don't know how to put this. Theories, much needed conversation in regards to America's loudest perceived breakup right now. And as you know, I'm not a fan of talking about stuff in the political world anymore on here, but I want to get this theory out to the people because, as you know, the LPDS is always one step ahead of the curve, and I want to stay that way. And I want the universe's input on this. So all that plus a nice little cage fact coming at you right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything, and we have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. I got to tell you, my brain is fried this week. By the time you're listening to this, I will be in France and Italy. I am taking a trip. I didn't talk about it much beforehand on the show or out in public, the public arena on Instagrams or anything like that on my personal page, because I am a weirdo like that, and I like to keep that's fun stuff kind of closer to the chest until it's like guaranteed. So when this posts, I'll be out there with the Wet Cat and Mrs. Wet Cat, having a grand old time, taking cooking classes and touring places, and all the fun stuff that you do in Italy. I'm trying to dress the part. As you know, I like to do that stuff. I want to blend. I'm going to try to get my tan on. I'm going to try to find a nice Italian gal, woman, lass, Bella, whatever you want to call them. I'll get all of this into the junction, but you're listening to this now. You're watching this now. I'm overseas, and because of the timeline of everything, there will be another pre-recorded LPDS next episode that I recording now. I recorded already. That on top of multiple Libretti Leadership Lab episodes that I pre-recorded this week as well, to put out there, to make sure that the stuff gets out there on time for the people. Plus all the other stuff behind the scenes that I've been doing for Spearhead, and then also for this trip that I'm on, and all this other stuff. I'm mentally exhausted. I was also still going to the gym to get my workouts in and doing all that stuff to stay disciplined and consistent. So I'm just fried. Now I know there, the haters out there, the trolls out there will dog on me. Oh, I recorded 4 episodes. You can really say 5 in the last 7 days. 3 LPDSs, last week's episode, this week, and next week, all within 7 days, and 2 triple L's. L Cubes, Libretti Leadership Labs, because those post on Wednesdays. And I know that's only about 4 hours worth of recording, give or take. But that 4-hour recording is preceded by about 15 to 30 minutes of setting up the desk, the Resolute desk here, getting the audio and video kind of aligned and tested and cooking. Then you got to add at least an hour on the back end for editing for each of those. So we're talking 8, 10 hours now of my week has been just content related. And then for the LLL, more so than the LPDS. The LPDS, I put a couple notes on the board on the bingo card, and I just start ranting. Except for the sponsor, takes a little bit to cook up a decent. I say decent, cook up a sponsor. But the LLL, I am drafting up the formatting for how I want to go about presenting the information. I got to pick the topic. I got to make sure the information is of value to people. I got a script. I write out the intro because I want I'm trying to get the intros to kick, a little bit more, have a little more bite to them to get people hanging on a little bit to learn, to want to learn about the topic at hand. And then the format is to keep people coming back because this is, I want it to be a receivable format of learning and growing and improving. So I'm working through the kinks on that. The final product after 3 episodes, 4 episodes, whatever, it's certainly not where I want it to be just yet. And I'm sure there's, again, the haters out there will look at it and be like, well, you do all that work and get that product, that output. That's fine. You could say that all you want. But that's what that's what I have to do internally to start building improved products and results for this stuff. So I take that very seriously when it comes to prepping and getting notes down in formats and scripting and running through it in my head and getting the correct look on YouTube and Spotify for when I film those because I want it to look as professional as possible, but still bring that libretti flavor and charm to the mix. That's one of the things, one of the big things we do differently that I pride myself on is that we're providing these leadership development services, the coaching and training in a way that's not loaded with corporate buzzwords and garbage PowerPoint presentations and copy and paste like follow this format and you'll be better. Give me money. See you later. I want every aspect of what I do regarding Spearhead, whether it's content on Instagram, post on LinkedIn, Triple L episodes, interviews, outreach, everything I do, I wanted to bring that libretti flavor to it, to let them know that we do things a little bit differently, and I think you're going to like it a lot better because we're in the trenches with you. So it takes a lot for me in the beginning to prep that stuff, to get that going. And it's a constant work in progress, and the success has definitely been slower than obviously I want to, and what I'm sure other people expected it to be, which is fine. I don't necessarily worry about what other people think of me or my progress. It's none of my business, other people's opinions of me. But that's a lot of mental bandwidth for me in 1 week, and I'm exhausted. And I have to give kudos to the people who are able to do that on a regular basis or something, not congruent, but comparable to that, but also have maybe families. Maybe they have a spouse and kids as well. Or maybe they also have a job in office. Then they got to come back, be with their kids and families, and then do the other stuff all on the side. That's incredibly commendable. So if you're one of those people, good on you. Thank you for your service. I'm sitting here mentally wiped from just it's me and Randy, and I'm mentally wiped this week. But on the other hand too, I also kind of kicked it into a little extra gear knowing that I'm going to have a full week of I can turn my brain off and it'll be nice. I won't have to worry about that stuff. I'm doing all the worrying and focusing and churning the brain power now so that I can do my little detox relief this week while you're tuning into this. I'm gone. I am on a beach somewhere. I'm getting rejected by Italian women left and right. I'm loving every minute of it. So, needless to say, brain is kind of wiped out. But I did start running again. recently. Slow, steady, not far distances. I'm not looking to sign up for any races this year, I don't think. My priorities right now are on something else, obviously. But I wanted to get moving again. I wanted to do again something that is difficult, breaks me out of my comfort zone, gets good amount of those good chemicals surging through my body, those endorphins from accomplishing something difficult. So I started doing some running again to add to the mix. And let me tell you something. It's been about a year since I've run at all. I've been doing just 3 miles, nothing crazy, stopping every mile to, recalibrate. I'm just easing back into it. But my Osgood-Schlatter has been flaring up. And it's been a stark reminder that I have had to endure this scarlet letter, if you will, for all these years now. Now, if you're not familiar with Osgood-Schlatter, if you're new to this show or you forgot, it's I don't know if you call it a syndrome, a medical condition where some leg bones grow faster than other leg bones that kind of converge near the knee. So that larger bone kind of protrudes out and starts stretching like the tendons and stuff at the knee when you do bend stuff, when you do knee bending. And that hurts. And you can't do a lot. I couldn't even kick a soccer ball because that impact would just reverberate up the leg to the knee and hit all those tendies there. And I was in bad shape in middle school. And every single damn doctor and trainer and specialist said all the same thing. Hey, you're gonna have to endure this pain now, and you'll grow out of it. It's a grow out of medical condition. Mental condition. I got some of those, but we're not talking about that. Well, guess who decided not to grow out of it? This guy. This stumpy, Joe Pesci sized, bald, big nosed Ginzo just didn't have the growth spurt. I just stopped growing probably in around high school, maybe college. I got a little bit extra inch on me, half inch, and I'm well below what their estimated height for me what it was when I was a child. And there's probably a number of reasons for that. My nutrition back in the day, I was, not a picky eater, but I didn't eat a lot. I would skip meals all the time. A lot of different things. My parents aren't terribly tall, but Osgood-Schlatter certainly didn't help. So then I go back to the doctor. I was like, hey, what gives? I still got the Schwartz. What the hell's going on here? And he's like, oh, well, you seem to be in that percentage of people. I forgot the percentage. It doesn't matter. I'm in it. So it doesn't matter if it's small or a large percentage. I'm in it. That it doesn't outgrow and you have it forever. I was like, so what do I do about that? And they're like, live, buddy. Live your life. Pretend you don't have it. And the long and short of it is that's what I forced myself to do. And it was hard in the beginning because it's tough to live like you don't have something when you feel something like that every day. And the pain doesn't subside. It's not like if I got in the catcher's position, I got used to, like the pain went away after a long amounts of time doing, playing catcher or getting in the crouch position or whatever. It's not like that. Every time I drop down catcher's position, it's the same amount of pain, same feeling every time. And that's still the case now, but at least when I was running regularly, it wasn't like during the running, it wasn't that bad for whatever reason. And I think because I got off of the running for a year and then got back on after that's an extended period of time of not using the legs in that way, even though I do a lot of squats and deadlifts now and do leg exercises, that I guess, prolong that steady amount of impact and what have you, they reminded me, hey, we're still here, buddy, until the day you die. Don't forget us. And I am certainly not forgetting it. And I can't even stretch the damn things out. It's just an annoyance. It's a very much a first world annoyance because it's physical pain, but it's such a nothing medical condition in America that they don't have it. Like they're like, we're not even going to bother looking for a solution or a treatment besides, taking anti-inflammatories if it hurts or icing your knees because it's like, if you're going to have a medical condition, this is the one you want. You're not going to die from it. You can still do everything you want. You just got to endure a little bit of discomfort. If you could be a little bit tough for a little bit of time, you're going to be fine. So definitely a first world problem. But I did laugh at the end of the first run I had. A couple hours later, I'm eating dinner. I'm watching TV, watching probably Reacher on rerun, on a repeat, excuse me. And I get up to go put my plate away, and I feel it. I was like, "Whoa, we're back!" And I laughed. I just kind of had a little chuckle to myself and to Randy, thinking, I almost completely forgot about the Schlotts, almost completely. And those little guys down there on the knees just wanted to remind me. And I can't really show you on YouTube or Spotify if you're watching on Spotify, but if you're looking at it, it's tough to see. Maybe I'll try to zoom in or something. Like I don't know how to do that in post. But do you see how you see how my knee shoots out when it's bent like this? That little point, that pyramid at the top of my knee there, that's on both legs, and that's the Schlotts right there. So it's not fake. I've seen people, and I'm not going to mention any names, but a couple of you in the LPDS universe know who I'm talking about. I have seen people claim they have Osgood-Schlatter, but have no visible signs of actually having Osgood-Schlatter. Not only that, they've used that to get out of physical activity for years. And I vowed to never be that guy. And I'm not a rat. I'm not going to name names. But like I said, a lot of you in the LPDS universe know who public enemy number one is. And their claims of Osgood-Schlatter and dealing with the pain, they can't do any physical activity like the rest of us had to do in college, except when it benefited them. I couldn't do that. I still won't do that. And I will never look for pity or sympathy or anything like that. I don't want really people to know about the Schlotts. I'm just talking to you guys about it because it was just a funny reminder because you guys know I have the Schlotts. We've talked about it. We joke about it. It's a funny thing that I can visually see every day the big reason why I'm not normal adult height. It's fun. It's funny in the cartoon character arc of Libretti. It's funny that's what the big man upstairs in red did. It's like, hey, not only are we going to make you shorter than everybody else, we're going to give you a visual reminder every single day that you stop, like your body stopped you, and right in its tracks. You had all the potential, could have been a contender, and your knees were like, buddy. So I like to bring it up because it's funny, it's humorous, it doesn't affect me at all. You guys know this. I've run marathons. Not fast, but I've completed them. I've done everything. It has not limited me at all, at least since middle school when I was trying to get used to it. Otherwise, good to go. I played soccer all through high school, baseball through high school. I ran track in high school, college, did baseball for 3 years, got cut the first 2 years, so maybe I had a 2-year break to help out a little bit, but did all this stuff in the military rucks, 5 miles with a 60-pound pack on me, doing that, training for the unit. I can do it all, and not complaining about it. Not here to brag that I'm able to do it all with Oscar Schwartz. It's a normal, nothing first world problem. Very just humorous to me. So I like to bring this stuff up to you guys to share in that humor with, because I like to share in funny moments, even if they might be at my expense. I think we can all use a good laugh every once in a while. So I'll keep you guys posted on the running progress. Maybe I'll get the itch to sign up for a race again. I think at the very least, I want to sign up for the Rocky Run. Not this year, not 2025, but 2026, I believe, is the 50th anniversary of the release of Rocky. I gotta verify that information. And if that's the case, I will definitely be running the race then. Because that's a big deal, as you know how I feel about Rocky and its impact on my life. And I enjoy that run. Running stinks. And I stink at it. And it hurts and it's uncomfortable. It never gets easier for me. But that race is fun. Because I'm not thinking about the running portion. I'm thinking about the Rocky portion. And I love a good, Rocky memory. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys posted. Now, really quickly, I want to bring this up in the current events side and not make it a full Junction topic, but I'm going to rant a little bit here. Junction's going to be quick, so hear me out here. Everybody, and I have to preface again, I'm limiting the discussions I'm having about politics, as you know, because there's really nothing ever good that comes out of it. And it's not what I want this to be. This show, this is supposed to be fun and engaging and entertaining. But I want to talk about this perceived breakup, this public Twitter breakup between Elon and Trumpy Bear, President Trump and Elon Musk. If you don't know who I'm talking about, that's been going on the past week or so all over social media and the internets and frankly, the legacy media too. Everybody's talking about it. Now, for context, to paint the picture of what's currently going on at the time of this recording, Elon has completed his time doing his Doge thing. He it was always going to be temporary anyway. He's gone. He's left that. He's not in the in that department anymore, the administration. He's back to just doing Elon stuff. From there, that big beautiful bill got signed. That's got a whole bunch of stuff in it. It's probably, I think it's like 1500 to 2,000 pages long. It's a big bill. It is a big bill. And the stuff, and I'm trying to be objective here, the stuff that they were bragging about sounded good. No tax on tips, this and that, all this other crap that's in there, that's good. But there's also a lot of pork and a lot of other bull crap built into the bill that adds to the spending of this country. And I imagine they added that stuff in there so that everybody would be amenable to voting on it. So everybody wins. Essentially, everyone gets what they want. But at the end of the day, that's, in my opinion, that's a despicable, I'm stuttering, and that's a despicable way of going about things. In my opinion, bills should be about one thing only. One subject only. Budget cuts. Healthcare. Spending. Like whatever it is, one bill. New legislation. One bill with one topic only. And the goal is to benefit the American people as much as possible. What can we put in this bill or take out of this bill that's going to have the greatest positive impact on the vast majority of the people in this country? Instead, they create these bills with these buzzword type of headlining names that don't mean any. Big beautiful. That's what it's called, the big beautiful bill. That's kind of embarrassing. And they talk about the main thing. This is going to help with taxes, no taxes on tips for service workers or whatever. Cool. And then they add 15, 16, 17, 18 different things underneath that have nothing to do with money or budgets or anything like related to the bill at all. It's just add-on stuff. Because they're appealing to the congressmen and senators in the House and Senate that are like, oh, well, I'm not going to vote for this bill unless you put in this that benefits me and my constituents or the people who are lining my pockets with money. Contract companies, the big, the power spenders, if you will, the lobbyists. So they adjust. They add all this. It's called pork. They add it to the bill. They never talk about it. It's all fine print. That's why you have 1,500-page bills that nobody reads when they vote on it, because all they care about is that their portion is in there. Okay, cool. I'll vote yay. My portion is not in there. I'm voting nay. I don't care I don't care about the rest of this. And the intent there is, okay, let's make sure we're pleasing everybody in the House and Senate and all their lobbyists and coffers and what have you. And then however it shakes out to the American people, well, who cares? So, long story longer, as we continue with the context, Elon starts trash talking this bill. He's out at Doge, starts trash talking the bill. It's garbage. It's wasteful spending. You wanted to go in there and you talk about cutting the budget and spending less and chipping away at the debt, and you're just adding to it. It's the biggest ad ever. It's terrible. You know you're wrong for voting for it. And then Trumpy Bear chimes in, and he starts tweeting about how he was getting rid of Elon anyway, and he's going to cut the subsidies on the SpaceX and Tesla and the EV cars and all the space-related stuff that the government's given those industries. And then Elon's like, well, I didn't want them anyway. Like I told you years ago, we don't care about the subsidies. You can have them. You should be cutting them anyway. And then Trump said something else. And then Elon drops this, supposed bomb again, supposedly out of left field. Well, the reason the Trump administration hasn't released the Epstein files is because he's in them. And they don't want to release it because he's going to be implicated. And he's like, the truth will set you free. Like, save this tweet because the truth is going to come out soon enough. And then all hell broke loose. And all the memes are great. There's some funny memes in there. There's some jokes in there. People are all up in arms. The anti-Trumpers don't know what to do because they also were told to hate Elon, but now Elon is anti-Trump, so it's like, oh, crap, do we stop drawing penises and swastikas on Teslas now? What do we do? We're losing our minds here. And then you have the hardcore Trumpy Bear lovers, the MAGAs, are like, I've sided with Trump. Elon was a chump anyway, and they all do the denial and well, I never trusted him anyway. He's a foreigner and this and all this other bull crap. And it's just drumming up everything. Attention, media attention, jokes. The internet is going wild. Now, a quick side note, which I thought was funny, and it kind of goes to the point where I've been trying to make for quite some time now. I turned my phone off. I went on my run, and I worked out in the gym, phone off for a couple hours there at that point. No TVs, no access to the internet. I was just doing my running and my working out. And it was all quiet on the Western Front when it came to this particular news story, if you want to call it that. And I thought that was funny because just like I always try to push and tell everybody, I got it didn't affect 1 second or one absolute bit of my life at all. The stuff that people are telling you is important on the news and on social media and the internet. You have to pay attention. You have to have an opinion. This is chaos. You have to engulf yourself in this. It's not, the 99% of it is not important at all. It doesn't affect you at all. Turn your phones off. Turn the TV off for a little bit. Go outside. What are the kids saying now? To go touch some grass. It was great. You have all the noise. It's like you're in a stadium regarding this story, And then I just turned my phone off to go for a run, and bam, gone. It all went quiet. And I can hear myself thinking. I can hear the voices in my head again. And it was nice. So I digress, but another reminder. It's not that big a deal. Most of the stuff is not that big a deal. You don't have to get all up in arms about. Anyway, I bring this up only because I want to put out some theories into the ether. As you know, we have a pretty decent damn track record of assessing the situation, analyzing the information that we currently have, and making quality assessments based on, on the future based on that information. Now, here's what I think is going on. It's one of two things, okay? It's one of two things. One, this could be a purposeful media uprising by these two to get the airways just flooded with this to cover up something else that they're trying to get done behind the scenes. What that is, I don't know. But this is a common tactic. You blow one story up that's really not important at all and stupid, really, to get something else pushed or slid under the table so people aren't talking about that thing, because they know if people find out about this is really going to be bad for everybody. Now, because I haven't seen anything in my side channels of the tinfoil hatties. Usually they're the ones who pop in with the theories of like, oh, they're using this story to cover up this story. There is no second story. There is no under the table story that I can find right now that would make sense to me that this is what they're doing, that they're drumming up this attention and this media storm and uprising to cover something else up. I have to find, by the time this post, maybe that comes to light in the tinfoil hat channels that I hang out in from time to time, but I haven't seen it yet at the time of this recording. So that's why I'm lower level confidence when it comes to that theory. But it's possibility. It's still a possibility. The second theory, and right now this is my number one, and I want to put it out there. I don't mind if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm putting it out there now so that if we are right, you can't sit back and say I Monday morning quarterback this. The second theory is that this is a calculated, coordinated, fake breakup fight spat to get the Epstein files actually out there, to get more information on the Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, child sex trafficking, pedo sex island ring out to the public like we actually need. Now, here's why I say that. One, I want that to be the case because you know how I am. I can't for the life of me figure out why they're protecting these people, these suspects, these child predators so aggressively. The only thing I can think of is the reason why they haven't released it earlier is because they're using all that intel and that information and that incriminating evidence to blackmail all the people involved. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't care if it's, like I said in the past, I don't care if it's Nic Cage himself. If he's on the list, justice needs to be brought to him. It doesn't matter if I like it or not. This is not a bias at all. I'm not saying to release it because I know all the people I like and admire are not going to be on it. No, I want it all out there. The fact that, A, it's so difficult to get people to care about this, and B, how easy it is for people to just dismiss it as not that important, that are, so many children are at risk of being kidnapped, trafficked, assaulted, killed because of sickos like this. I don't know how that's not the number one concern, at least for parents in America who have kids under the age of 18. It's crazy to me. So obviously I want those files to be released. I want people brought to justice. And I couldn't care less if Trumpy Bear is actually on the list or not. If he is, bring him to justice. Do I think he's on the list? Not particularly, because if he was incriminating, he was on the flight logs, but he also was on the record reaching out to the FBI, telling them that something's up with this guy. So, like, he doesn't have a lot of publicly available information to suggest that he was part of this. Certainly not like Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and is it Nadler? Was he on it? And Prince Andrew and the Victoria's Secret owner and Stephen Hawking's the robot voice guy. They have much more incriminating evidence out there in the public. Trumpy Bear just doesn't. But if they have that stuff, bring him to justice too. I don't think they do, though, because if they did, they would have found a way in the last several years to get that information out there without incriminating themselves either. Like, do you think the Democratic Party, the DNC, would not have found a way to release that and at least try to hide, to continue protecting their suspects? They would have released it in a second. They're doing everything they can to get rid of this guy. They set up an assassination attempt on him, multiple. They want to get rid of this guy. And that is a absolutely legitimate way to get rid of him. But they haven't. So it makes me think that either there's nothing there, nothing of significance there, or there's no way for them to protect their guys as well. But by doing this, the space stuff, the subsidies, and ending the Dragon space program, Elon's taking away the Dragon missile program, whatever it is, the space shuttle program, that's just all ball wash. Okay? Trump and Elon knew for years that these government subsidies were not really doing what it was wasteful spending. Elon said it. He has multiple videos out there, even from back in like 2021, talking about it. He's like, yeah, we don't need them. You can get rid of them for EVs. You can get rid of them for the space stuff. We don't need that stuff. We don't need these subsidies. These are wasteful. And even Trump has said, so they were always on the same page with that. So the fact that they're creating a fight about that, I'm going to take away these subsidies. Like, that's all ball wash. Just to add to the fake fight, the cat fight. And then everyone thinks that Elon just lobbed this wild accusation out there about Trumpy Bear on the list as completely out of left field. He's just escalating because he's mad. He has nothing else to say. So that's what you do. You fall. This is the last ditch effort. But here's what I think. I think it's a calculated effort. I think they knew about this going into it. Behind closed doors, scheming, good, scheming. Because Trump hasn't really responded to that at all. Like, he started shit talking again about Elon doing something else. Didn't really have anything to do with the Epstein stuff, which makes you think like, oh, maybe he doesn't want to bring it up because he's scared. I think they brought it up on purpose because this is the way to get all the media, the anti-Trump media, which is basically all legacy media, newspapers, news stations on cable television, every anti-Trumper in America, which is almost half the country, all those, the Democratic Party, the DNC, everybody in the government that hates him, the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, if you ever heard of that term, they all want Trump out. This is the way they see this. Oh, well, if Elon's saying this, he must know something we don't. He must have seen something we don't. So now we're going to do everything in our power to keep this on the news cycle to demand that they release the Epstein files. And Trump, maybe that's my theory, is he knows, like, there's nothing implicating about me in there, so. And nobody's listening to me to actually release them. My attorney general is hiding them. My FBI director and is it the DNI, ODNI, that Dan Bongino took over, prior Secret Service guy, who has also in the past talked about how he didn't think Epstein suicided himself and all this other stuff about him, and how all of a sudden they just completely flipped the script and they're like, oh yeah, he said we watched the surveillance video in the prison. He definitely offed himself. Meanwhile, for the past however many years, the big story was the guard was falling asleep or left his post, and the cameras didn't work. They broke. We don't have any footage, but all of a sudden he's seen footage. They just flipped their story immediately. Oh yeah, he definitely did it. There's no question about it. Trumpy Bear's probably tired of it. The American people are certainly tired of people coming in and saying we're gonna get this stuff out there, and then they're not doing anything about it. So they cook up this fake breakup, to get now the media in there. We want to see Trump's name in these files, so you better release them. And he's forcing their hand. He's forcing their hand to actually do something now and get the information out there. And I believe the FBI director, Kash Patel, was on Rogan recently. I didn't see the episode yet. But one of the things, he said this in the past, for the last couple of weeks, that, we're still going through all the video footage because we don't want to re-victimize the victims in these videos. Which, technically speaking, I agree with. You don't want to put the stuff out there in a way that's going to rehash this trauma for these victims. You want to protect the victims here, the children, the underage kids, for sure, and their families. But you got to get this stuff out. You have to find a way to expedite and start bringing people to justice. I heard a crazy theory. Megyn Kelly said that she's got a source. She's not going to say how or who it is, but she has a source that suggests that Epstein's not dead, and he's going to come out as a witness one of these days in the next couple years, saying, like, I was, state's witness. This was a blackmail operation to get all this dirt on these people, and they're sick bastards, and they should all be thrown in jail. I don't know if that's true, but it's certainly another, curveball into the whole mess. But at the end of the day, I think this whole thing, this whole fake, childish Twitter breakup, and it's childish. I don't care if you like Trump, if you like Elon, or you hate them both. It doesn't matter. This public, these are adults. The president of the United States and a guy working for the president, sometimes also the richest man in the world on paper, like that we know of. I'm sure there's a bunch of oil sultans in the Middle East that are worth trillions that they just don't tell anybody about. But richest man in the world versus the leader of the free world, going at it on Twitter like a bunch of middle school or high schools who just got to a breakup and are bickering back. It's childish and embarrassing on one hand. On the other hand, it plays right into the Trump administration playbook. Take jabs publicly, get people outraged about what he's saying on Twitter and on Truth Social and all this stuff that doesn't really mean anything, because it's going to drum up the attention and get people up in arms to push his agenda, whatever his goals are. It's chess. You don't have to like it. It's a dirty game of chess, but it's chess. And we'll see what ends up happening. If stuff starts to pop off, if this list if the information starts to actually come out about the Epstein stuff. Or we'll see if maybe they're covering up another story that they don't want you to know about. I don't know. I think it's one of those two things. I'm leaning towards the Epstein stuff because there's more evidence to suggest that's what it is. It falls in line perfectly with the Trump playbook and what Elon has been, it aligns with both of their goals. It cuts wasteful spending, and it gets the names out there. It gets the information out there. It gets the people who have been so adamant about sweeping the Epstein stuff under the rug finally in a conundrum. It's like, do we keep sweeping this under the rug? But also, there's a chance our number one enemy is on this list, so we also want to find out. So we got to keep digging. Like, it puts him in a pretzel. It's exactly what he wants. Divide and conquer. I've talked about how politicians and media divide and conquer. That's what they do. They cause the chaos and division. Trumpy Bear's doing it too. Elon's doing it too. These guys are in a pretzel right now. They have them right under their thumb, and now they have to just sit back and wait. Wait for the other shoe to drop, or whatever that stupid saying is. That's what I think is going on. Everybody's talking about the wrong thing, in my opinion. It's embarrassing. Our president shouldn't be doing this. It's disgusting. And Elon I never liked him. He should go back to South Africa and blah, 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 and all this other crap. Look at deeper, folks. They know what they're doing. Whether you like it or not, I think they're doing this on purpose. Something ain't right with this. It doesn't pass the smell test, and you know how well I smell stuff. So, anyway, rant over on that. We're going to limit the politics stuff, but conspiracy stuff and trying to get to the bottom of the Epstein stuff, I'm all about that. So, with that, we'll get to the good stuff. Finally, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Farfel's Fart Jars. Are you an incel who can't wait any longer for Japan to create realistic robot women to satisfy your austere self-treat fantasies? Then order yourself one of Farfel's Fart Jars today. Farfel has been working with a stable of the finest women from Bosnia and Herzegovina to bring you the freshest, most aromatic experiences you'll ever get in your parents' basement. They even have custom odors that you can personally order, from goulash goodness to empanada ecstasy to potato stew perfection. So to get schnoz deep in one of Farfel's jars today, visit www.backsidebliss.com, and if you use the promo code "You Smelt It, We Dealt It," you get 29% off your first jar. That's a real thing, folks. In case you're not up to speed on what some of these weird people, I don't like to judge, but this is weird. People are buying off the internets. Fart jars are a real thing. Now, I'd much rather the weirdos buy fart jars from what they believe to be, women's farts. I got news for you guys. It's not. All right? I have it on very good authority that the vast majority of those fart jars are coming from stanky big-ass men just crushing cans of chili, beefarino. So you enjoy those. But on the other hand, I'd rather them spend their money and their energy, if you will, on that stuff than, other bad stuff out there that we just talked about. So get yourself some Farfel's jars. Anyway, the cage fact. I honestly can't remember if I discussed this. Maybe in passing I did. But it popped back up on my radar again, and I wanted to make sure. But there is a band. It's a hardcore metal band out of Australia called the Nicolas Cage Fighters. The Cage Fighter, but Nicolas Cage Fighter. Hardcore metal. And Nic Cage happens to be a fan of their work. Like, not because of their name, but because his son was in some hardcore metal bands back in the day. and he got his father into that kind of music, and then he heard about this group at All Australia and was like, "Hey, I actually, I like your work." He likes their message. Now it's hardcore metal, so it's sort of like screamo, dark arts sort of thing. It's not for me as far as the style, but I could get behind the lyrics and messages if they share my values. And he said that they are about like taking ownership and accountability in your own life and not being a victim and just being mature adults that take accountability in things. And he said he likes that they put this message out, and they're also sort of using his likeness to do that. Now, let's be honest. If you name your band or anything after Nic Cage in any way, shape, or form, you're going to get more eyeballs on. So from a branding and marketing perspective, it's a great way for them to get their music out there. And it worked because they're Australian. And the metal hardcore music world. That's a small genre in and of itself. And I imagine an even smaller sect of the Australian population is into that. So we're talking very small influence here. But they got their name out there so much that Nic Cage got on his radar, and he gave them their blessing. So, if you're into that type of music, check out Nicolas Cage Fighter. It's a clever play on words. Is it as clever as stepping into the cage and providing every single possible Nic Cage fact known to man? Even some that I'm sure Nic Cage doesn't even remember. It's not as good as that. But I'd like to get a hold of their marketing team because they get their name out there a little better than my marketing team does. You know how many times I've fired those bastards? I don't know why I keep bringing them back. Probably because they're the only ones I can afford right now. Anyway, that's the Cage fact. Move over to the Junction. Spin the logo up. This is quick. I don't have much, guys. Okay? Like I said, my brain's been fried. It's been hella... It's been I don't know why... I don't know why my brain wanted to say hella focused. I've never even used that phrase in my life. That might be the first or second time ever in my life I said that out loud. Even in a sarcastic manner. I don't know where that came from. My brain is so fried, I'm starting to talk like a weirdo from California or wherever they say that term. That's crazy. Anyway, I've been so focused on that stuff that I haven't been doing a lot out and about to find good, to get good stories, to get good experiences this past week. But I did want to provide an update on the water main, the water pipe breakage. The water department, the Public Works Department of Houston. Randy, stop licking. Damn it, he's disgusting. They finally came out to address the situation nearly 2 weeks later. 10 days later. Actually, more than that. Let's think here. Day, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, no, 10 days later. 10 whole days of water, clean water being pissed away, people on one side of the street having low water pressure, and they finally come. My issue with this, besides the fact that they took them that long, this is supposed to be an emergency, an urgent situation that they didn't give a crap about. And there's still a chance that they try to charge us for the lost water. So I'm keeping an eye on my water bill to see that, because I'm going after them if they try to do that. So I'm pissed about that. That's A. B, they don't announce it at all. They don't send out a message, an email, a text, put it on their website, nothing at all, that they're going to come by to fix this and they're going to shut the water off to do it. Now, I understand you have to fix a broken clean water pipe. You have to shut the water off. I got it. But if you're going to do that, you should let the neighborhood know that they're not going to have water. Especially since it was off for 10 hours. Now, I understand. Still sort of a first world problem. If I needed to, I could still go to the grocery store to buy water. I can still go to the gym to take a shower if need be. But 10 hours for the entire block to have no running water, completely unannounced. They didn't tell you when they were going to start it. They didn't tell you how long before they were going to reopen the water. Completely shut down 10 hours. And there was a good portion of that time where the guys working were laying on the front lawn of my neighbor's house taking a break. Now I get it. It was a lot of work that needed to be done. But this is an urgent situation that you sat on for almost 2 weeks. And then you don't even send enough guys to keep the work continuous so that they can take breaks while the work still gets done. It's just, the issue I have with it is just the total lack of respect for the customers, the citizen, the residents of the town who are paying for your services and this water. And there's just the lack of accountability. Nobody mentioned anything. Nobody even sent an apology email. Sorry about that. No, they don't even acknowledge our existence. And then they give you attitude when you challenge them on it. When you even ask a question, hey, were you going to tell anybody? Well, why would we tell anybody? Oh, I don't know. Because everybody on this street is either working from home or retired. Okay? They're home all day relying on functioning water that they're paying for. That's what blows my mind. Not the fact that if somebody called us ahead of time and said, hey, listen, we're going to go 3 days without running water. So you might want to plan accordingly. Okay, it's a very big inconvenience and I don't like it, but you told me I could figure this out. No. They just shut it off. And there was no timeline. The guy said, oh, when we're finished, we'll turn it back. Yeah, no shit, dude. When you're finished, you'll turn it back on. Would you think we thought you were going to turn it off and just forget to turn it back on when you were finished? I know how this stuff works, you dickhead. Not one part of this entire situation was handled appropriately at all by Houston Public Works. And I don't mind calling them out. They're not paying attention to this anyway. They don't pay attention to their own customers, let alone some random jabroni on a podcast. That's what's annoying to me and frustrating. Yeah, I got my water. Everything's good in reality. Everything's fine now. I got my water back. Everything's clean. The pipe is supposedly fixed for now. We'll see how that goes. But we have to do better. We have to do better. You can't hate your government enough. Federal, state, or local. They can't do... You want them to be in charge of your health insurance and your medical care? We want free health care. It's all right. This is what happens when the government runs something. Even at the local level, when it's a lot easier. It's much smaller amount of people, much less amount of people, much smaller region to govern and lead. It's much easier to lead smaller teams than it is large scale 320 million person team like the US is. These people can't do anything right. They cannot succeed at anything right now. And I half blame us. I more so blame us than, I blame them a lot because they're unethical. They have no values, no morals. Most of them get into these jobs and and run for these positions because they know that they can get away with a lot of crap and get paid on the side for it. So you're not even getting a good group of people to vote for. But on the other hand, we keep voting for these people that are liars and snake oil salesmen and criminals that don't care about us. And they can't do the simplest of tasks. And people still out there want, well, Canada has free healthcare. The government takes care of it. Do you know how long it takes for you to go get like a cataract surgery up in Canada because of quote unquote free healthcare? It's not free, by the way. They're just going to take more taxes out of it, and they're going to overcharge you. They're going to tell you it's this much in extra in taxes, but it's not really that much. They're going to use that to skim off the top and do their whole money laundering stuff, which is par for the course. You know how long it takes cataract surgery? 5 months, 4 months. Takes like 2 weeks here. 17, 18 days, you schedule your cataract surgery, you're in and out. No big deal. Hip surgery, same thing. Couple weeks. Oh, you need your hip replaced? Come back in 17 days. Yeah, we have a lot to work on with our health insurance and healthcare stuff. It's a different subject altogether. But we're talking about these people can't even handle a water main break. They can't deliver the mail. They can't do anything without stealing or screwing it up. We can't hate our government enough. You could be patriotic and love your country and still call out these government officials. I think there's still too many people who don't understand that that's allowed, and that's how it should be. We should be scrutinizing these people on both sides all the time. But man, oh man, is this just another example of the ineptitude that we got going on right now with people in general, and why it's more important than ever to tune into the LPDS and to get people to start working with spearhead leadership. We can help. We got to figure out a way to help people get better. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. As you know, as I mentioned earlier, I'm in Italy right now. I haven't been since 2013. I'm very excited that I got a chance to go on this trip. The only reason why I'm going is because we scored some pretty solid travel lodging deals and points manipulations and stuff like that to make it financially very reasonable. It was almost too good to pass up. Otherwise, I would not have been taking a trip like this because it wouldn't have been financially suitable for me right now. But I couldn't pass up the opportunity. And like if I was rich, I'd go to Italy monthly, even for just an extended weekend, just for a meal. But I'm not rich yet, so we'll get there. But I did find some financially savvy ways to procure attire to blend in. Because I like to blend in. I'm not going to wear my hat with the American flag on it like this hat here, which, by the way, I wear here, not because I think I'm a cool guy with a backwards hat and whatever. I wear the hat because I wear the headset on the LPDS. I don't wear on the LLL, the headset. I wear on the LPDS, and I don't want my bald head grease, my olive oil grease on my head to get onto the headset, so that it lasts longer. And I don't want to do what I usually do with my video game controller headset, is instead of wearing a hat, because it doesn't get hot. I am sweating in here. I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt, and I'm still sweating from flapping my gills because my head is covered. But when I'm playing video games, I put a paper towel on top and rest the headset on that. I don't want to do that for the LPDS. That's a JPL2 move. My grandfather, JPL2, used to put a paper towel in his hats to absorb the sweat. That's a veteran move right there. So But I'm not going to go, long story longer, I'm not going to wear my hat with the American flag on it out in Italy. I'd like to blend in a little bit with the locals. So I got some really cool shirts and some shorts and pants and different stuff like that to enjoy my time out there and at least let them know, like, hey, I'm trying. Okay, I've been practicing some Italian so I can understand some words at least, and being able to converse and communicate with people. I wrote an email to reserve some, a restaurant a spot, a table at a restaurant for dinner, and I wrote the whole email in Italian. It took me quite a while. I tried to do as much as I could without, Google Translate or anything like that. It didn't work out so well, so I did use the translator a lot, but I'm really trying to immerse myself because one of my goals is to I always had this for a long time at least is to get a small piece of property out there, specific, hopefully on the coast. That's the real goal, close to the coast, outside of the touristy areas that I can escape to when I want. With the bring my future family, bring my current family, my siblings and parents or whatever, to be able to just go out there when we want, escape, and just not have to do anything. Just enjoy the town. Maybe I get a little gelato, walk around, hang out on the beach, just live, just exist out there, and just shut the brain off, get a little reset in. So I want to be able to immerse myself not only in the culture but the language itself. Because if I have a place out there, I want to be able to speak to the people out there as well. So that's the goal. So that's why I'm not just trying to be like this fake Italian where it's like when people go on trips and they come back and they're like, oh well, in France they drink their coffee like this, so I am going to do that here all the time now. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I can't pull that off. I can't not be me, whether I try, no matter how hard I try. Even when I'm trying to change and improve things, it's tough to get out of those habits. For instance, for the Libretti Leadership Lab, I'm trying to speak to the camera because I want it to be mainly a YouTube show. It's on Spotify. You can watch it on Spotify, and it's on Apple to listen to, but I want it to mainly be a visual YouTube show because we're going to have guests on there. So I want you to be able to see them and connect. So I'm trying to look at the camera, but I'm so used to not looking at the camera and going about my business. The vast majority of my content that I've made in the last 5 years has been looking away from the camera, random spots around the room, like I'm doing right now. So I'm trying very hard to pop to the camera as much as possible to talk to people, to connect. I know it's a little different because it's virtual, but there you do feel a little bit more connection when people are looking at the camera. It's almost like they are looking at you. You're looking in each other's eyes. You're sharing a moment, if you will. So I'm trying to work on that, but it's very difficult. So going to a place for a week, I'm not going to come back and be like, oh, I have to do all this stuff now. No, I might adjust like my diet and nutrition because I like the Mediterranean diet a lot more than the American diet when it comes to the health and wellness factor to it. But I'm not going to stop eating cheeseburgers because of it. I'm not going to stop getting, American style pizza because of it. I might throw out a couple of Italian words here and there when I'm just mixing it in there again to practice. But I can't. I'm not the guy. I'm not capable of just completely flipping the script and becoming Italian overnight like that. And I know a lot of people who are. I've seen a lot of people in my life, in my travels, that will go to a place for 6 days and come back and think they are Spanish or they are French now. Oh, and they almost come back with that attitude, like I'm better than you because I've been there. I'm worldly, and I'm French. I'm Parisian. Like, forget about it. Okay. the the most American I've ever felt was the first time I stepped foot in non-touristy Italy. And I'm a self-proclaimed I'm an Italian American. We're Italian. This is what we do. We're loud. We cook a lot. We yell at each other. This and that. And then I go over to Italy and yes, they are loud. And yes, they cook a lot. And yes, they yell. But it's just different. They're not eating the same way. They're not talking about the same stuff. They're not doing things the same at all. We are very much Americanized. The Italian Americans are much more so American than Italian, despite what some of these jabronis on social media want to have you believe. All the awesome delis and sandwich shops that you see in New York. I follow all their Instagrams. I love those places. Their food is phenomenal. Their sandwiches are incredible. But they're not that's not a thing in Italy. But a lot of times these guys will go and they'll make these little skits and do these bits at these delis, and they'll start using some Italian slang terms and throwing out the how you doings and the madonna, little mozzarella's out there and all these guys with the hands and this and that. And then you go to Italy and it's like they're not doing that at all. Okay? Also, there's not nearly as many fatzos as there are in the Italian American community. Okay? And that kind of goes back to what I said, maybe I'll try to adopt more of the Mediterranean style diet. I certainly want to buy the Italian flour, the baking and flour for desserts and for pasta, because their flour does not have the folic acid and the other kind of not good stuff that American flour gets dumped into it, and it is better on the gut and the stomach and the bloating. So I do want to do that in general, but the American diet, even the Italian American diet, is very different. Very different. They don't make triple decker chicken cutlet with penne with vodka sauce sandwiches in Italy. If they do, they're gonna call it American Italian. Just like we have Italian restaurants that serve authentic Italian food and it's pretty damn good. They have American style restaurants. They got McDonald's. They have American style for the people who like it, want burgers and stuff and American versions of shit. They'll probably have that, but it's not authentic Italian. They're not saying come and get this 6-layer chicken cutlet and provolone on sourdough bread sandwich, because that's how we do it here in Italy. It's no, this is how the fatso Americans do it, and it does taste good, but you're going to become a fatso like the vast majority of the Italian American social media influencers, but that's okay because, whatever. We don't really care that much. And I don't care that much. It's just funny to me that if you tell them this, they get really offended. I love being Italian American. I love my family. I love being from that part of the country. But the Italian Americans, you want to offend them? Make fun of them for being too try-hard with the Italian, with the fake Italian. There's a lot of them. And they get butthurt. You can make fun of them for being Italian, and all the slang terms and all the derogatory terms, guinea, wop, ginzo, jabroni, whatever. I joke about that. The vast majority of the Italian community doesn't care about that anymore. We're over it. We did, they did their time back in the day, and we're not victims of that anymore. We can laugh that off. That's cool. But if you go up to some fatso Italian American, and he's trying to build up this persona as I'm an Italian first, and I just happen to live in America, but my grandfather is this, and I'm going to use all the slangs like Metagon and Fangul and Madon, and I'm going to even learn Italian, which is cool. I learn something new every day. But then you tell them you're American, dude. Go over to Italy, and people are not like this. They don't look like you. They don't act like you. And that's cool, but don't pretend that you're more Italian than American. You're American with Italian roots. and they lose their shit. That's the one thing that they lose their shit about. I've seen videos of them getting mad. My grandfather came over here on the boat with Enzo and this and that, and you don't tell me. You don't disrespect my family and my heritage. Shut up, dude. You're going to have a stroke. Okay, calm down. I'm one of you. My grandfather came over, as well. The only difference is I'm acknowledging it and you're not. So, long story longer, I am not going to come back and pretend that I am Joe Italian. Don't worry about it. I am still very much American Libretti. But I am excited to share some stories of how it all went down in a few weeks when I'm able to record, the update for you guys. And I hope you're excited too, because I like being able to share my experiences with you guys. It's one of the reasons why I like doing this show so much. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that, and that's all I got for today, guys, finally. Before we go, very quickly, the big three, the three pillars of staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine, less stressed human being, and being able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Number one, exercise every day. Do something every day to improve your physical, mental, or emotional fitness and health and wellness. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to be negative and shitty and divisive, take the LPDS step back, detach from those negative emotions, and remove yourself from the situation altogether. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives, because we got a pretty damn good life. And let me tell you something, I was damn grateful to know that my water situation was only temporary, because I don't know how I would be able to function on a regular basis without running water in my house. So you do these three things a little bit each and every day, and I promise you'll be a better, happier, kinder, less stressed, healthier, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Put your notifications on. Tell your friends and enemies. Hit that hotline, 202-670-1114. I love the hotline calls. I miss them. I appreciate every time you guys call in on the hotline, 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.